Sure, he'll like that.
I know it's just 11:30, and I know we're going to give a few minutes for others.
Yeah, I
to maybe
usually
join.
like to, wait like 5 or 10 minutes just to get people to realize what time it is.
Right. It snuck up 11:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did.
The time flies.
All right, well, we've got stuff set. The streaming is started, so whenever you guys want to get things going, we can do so.
Beautiful. Do we want to wait just a few more minutes to see if anybody else joins?
Yeah, I'd like to wait at least 5 or 10 minutes. So Eric, this is Amy. They're kind of brand new members, a few weeks old, I think.
Yeah.
That's brand new.
Yeah. You want to represent yourself better than I probably did.
Hi there. Yes, I'm with MCDA CCG. We are business strategists, so we help businesses bridge the gap between where there are discrepancies in their business. It could be from financial area, from your business management area. We even help just with simple recruiting services. So just anywhere we could provide a lending hand, we do so.
Okay, that sounds good. And how long have you guys been around?
It's been around for 10 years. 10 years.
Okay, good.
A little bit more.
And what kind of businesses do you generally work with?
We're industry-wide. We have a lot of experience in the aerospace industry, but we go broader than that too as well.
Okay, cool. Sounds awesome. Well, I have a few things that I'll show. I have a presentation. We're going to actually get into a demo of sharing some software and like my approach on putting a video together as well. And I'll show that actually live. We're going to build one live. So it'll be, hopefully this will be informative to show a little bit of our approach and how we go about doing things and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to, sharing this with everybody. So I think, no time like the present. I think why don't we just go ahead and maybe we'll just wait a couple.
Right when you say that, so we get a new person. So hey, Lanisha.
So cool. We'll wait just a couple more minutes.
Yeah. Lanisha. Hello. Lanisha, can you unmute and tell Amy what you do?
Oh yes, hold on. I'm walking on my way outside. Hold on a minute. Sorry. Hi, I'm Lanisha.
Ooh, you're all choppy.
I'm a hypnotherapist.
There we go.
How about now?
Hi, Lanisha. Yes, I've met you before.
How's everyone?
Good.
Oh yes, Amy, I met you.
Yes.
Nice to see you here.
Nice to see you too.
How did you guys meet?
I called Mike, or Michael. Called Michael.
Nice. Well, then you guys are old buddies now.
Yeah. We go way back.
Just when I was going to start, maybe I'll say that again, and somebody else will come
I know,
in
then
and I'll
somebody
say
else will pop on.
Right.
Or we can just go and let folks come in as they come in too. So why don't we just do that? And we'll get going because, it's lunch hour. Anyway, welcome, Business Success Series. We're talking today about creating video for business. And for those of you that don't know me, Amy, my name is Andy Schomp. I'm the owner of Tempo Video Works. We are a full service video production company. Our focus is really in helping businesses communicate. I mean, video is really about communication when it comes down to it. My background is more than 20 years of corporate communications. So I kind of walk the talk and talk the walk a little bit in terms of how to successfully share communication in a business, right? And that's really what we're all about. You know, people ask, do you do weddings? Not really, no. Do you do whatever? My focus is business and helping businesses share and do video. So, and I know at least Eric is doing a lot of video, but I don't know if anybody else is doing video. So I think I'll just start with that question really quick. You know, is anybody else on the call already using video in their business? Show of hands, just do this. Yes, no, yes,
Yeah.
no, yeah, cool, excellent. Well, that makes things a little bit easier, maybe to understand. And today is kind of a balance between getting started in video really and if you are doing video, maybe looking at ways you can actually do it a little bit better, right? Setup today from a technical perspective, I'm running an iPad, 2 computers, camera, lights back over this way that you can't see, all kinds of stuff. I have a lot of fun stuff to share. I'm running it all through a single switcher, so it works as my webcam, which is really kind of nice. So it's a pretty cool setup, but part of a live stream, you know, that we can really do, which is kind of fun. And the first real question is why do we want to use video, right? And I have some stats for you to share. One, you know, consumers love it. You know, there's 2 billion people that use YouTube, you know, and a full third of the time that people spend online, they're watching video, whether it's, you know, the latest episode of the big stream on Netflix or the latest episode, you know, the latest viral TikTok. I mean, you kind of get the idea from that. 500 million people watch Facebook videos every day. US residents consume 323 minutes per week of online video content, with most of that coming in the 18 to 49 demographic. If you think about from a marketing perspective and why that's important. I mean, that's like the prime demographic for everybody, right? Also, 93% of businesses gain new customers as a direct result of posting branded video content on media platforms. And what I mean by branded video content, it's video that really supports their business and what they do. It's video that explains who they do, what they do, how they do it, and so on. Here's a fun one in that it's 75% of Instagram users actually take action after a video, and 82% of Twitter users primarily use the platform to watch video, you know, and I think you could go on and on and on in terms of why video is really an imperative in, you know, today's business environment. It truly is. And now that I've given you a brief overview of why, let's talk about the how. And there's a few types of marketing videos that I would like to focus on, and I'm going to share a few of those examples with you today. The first one is a customer testimonial, and customer testimonials are a very powerful tool in communication for your business, because they really take someone that is using your product, using your service, participating in your service, and they tell about what it brings to them, and what it brings to them can help potential customers really understand what it could bring for them or do for them, right? So here's an example. The client in this video is MailChimp, and they are working with a boutique shop in the Bay Area in San Francisco called Azalea. And let's just watch this real quick. I think it's pretty cool. Let me actually go back and rewatch that, and we'll go from the beginning because...
I'm Karina. I'm the co-owner of Azalea boutique, a specialty retail store here in San Francisco. These days, it's getting a lot more challenging for a brick and mortar store to operate and to stay engaged and relevant. A lot of our customers shop in store and online, and events is a way for them to come and meet with us in person and really experience the brand in full capacity. So I used a targeted list of local customers and send them an email that drove traffic to the landing page. What's really cool about the landing page is I initially set it up for my events, but I actually put products in there and directly make sales from the page itself. MailChimp has helped us change with the times while staying true to ourselves. Look at what we've built, and we're still here and having fun after 15 years, and people still like us. That's pretty cool.
So that's a pretty cool example. I'm going to turn my key off for a second so you can actually see me. Why I like that video and why I like it so much is because the message is so simple. It's very clear, and it has a good showing of the net result, why it works for her. You know, she uses MailChimp, and it helps her grow in her market. It's helped to keep her relevant, you know. It's very authentic. The subject in the video is the owner of this boutique. You can hear her passion about her business. You can hear her passion in her voice and how she's using the product. She's relatable, really, to the target market. She's a small business owner, changing economy, how she's continued to have success through, 15 years is really the dawn of the internet age and the dawn of online shopping. And if you think about it, it's really come to be in the last 15 or so years. So a really kind of a cool first demo, customer testimonial. It's one of the most powerful tools I think that you could have. A next example I have is a product video, and a product video shouldn't only help you see the product you're showcasing. It should also help answer the question, what problem am I solving if I get this product, right? It should really clearly show that up front, give some nice demos of the product in action. And so let's watch this video. And this is Night Cable by Native Union. I'm going to share this with you now.
Sometimes the simplest ideas are the best, solving everyday problems that have previously been ignored. Most of us charge our phones at home. We strain to use them when they're plugged in and are forever dropping our leads. Night Cable was designed to remove these frustrations and make things more enjoyable. Firstly, it's got range, 3 meters in fact, enough cable to charge and get comfortable. And it's braided so it feels great too. And the best bit, the knot. It's weighted, stays right where you left it, so it's there when you need it. Useful, so simple. Night Cable.
Now, I don't know about you, but if you're like me, you have a couple of those frayed Apple charging cables, laying around that always bend and break right at the tip, and they're always too dang short to do anything with, and you kind of have your phone and you're stretching it across because you're charging it, but you want to see what's going on, kind of thing. They're showing practical examples of the product in action, which is really kind of cool. It's just a very simple message. Look, Apple charging cables stink. Here you go. Here's a good one that you can buy, and it does all the things that you want it to do. It's long enough to handle everything, right? So pretty cool video. Should point out those first 2 videos I didn't do, okay, but I like because they're so relevant in their examples and they're easy to share. So one more example for you, and this is a brand video. Who are you? What makes you different? Tell me your story, what you're about. The best of a brand video shares, really who you are, what you do, why you have a passion, what your passion is. Most of us as small business owners, we are passionate about what we do, right? And this is just that. This is actually a brand video that I put together. This is me, this is our company I did this probably just about a year ago or so now, but it's really about the heart of who we are, and I wanted to share this with you. I think I need to update some of the clips that are in here, but I'll let you have a look.
Every business has a story. Every organization has a voice. At our heart, we're storytellers. We do what we do to help those businesses, those people, share their story. We lend visuals to their voice. Tempo VideoWorks is built on more than 20 years of telling the stories and sharing the voices of nonprofits to Fortune 500 companies. Video is more important than ever in today's environment. Let us help you share your story.
As I unmute and come out of that, wrong button, Andy. There you go. Okay. So brand video. Share your passion, share your story, share, the fundamentals of who you are. And I have one last one to show you, and that's really event coverage. And if you think about event coverage in a corporate environment, it's always a little bit different than, say, like a wedding or a birthday or whatever that event, whatever you can think of that you're going to shoot for video. This is an example of one that we shot for print and finishing solutions. They're actually a printing supply, meaning like the hardware of printing and finishing equipment here in Placentia. Events for businesses are a big deal. You're hosting an event. Maybe you're having a business expo. Maybe you're having a fencing tournament, Eric. Maybe you're having a ceremony in the park, Lanisha. Hey, for that, coverage of an event, you want to share who you are, where you're at, what you're doing. And my phone's ringing, and I'm not going to answer it right now. Here you go. So this is that. Cool. So I'm going to ask a question of you guys right now. That we saw 4 pretty cool examples of video and different styles of video. What did you notice about them? Because they're all similar in a way. Tell me, and you can unmute now or type in the chat, doesn't really matter. Tell me what you thought was similar about those videos.
I noticed the music was like happy and feel good.
Yeah, the music really helps to set a tone or a feeling about what it's doing. But if you notice on all of those, the music kind of helps to drive the feeling, right? A little more serious and undertone, understated in that first example, and then that PFS music in the last one actually is their signature. They have that as part of their brand, right? That's the music clip they use in all their video work that they do. The videos are edited a little bit to the music as well, and that helps drive and push the video forward and make it not not more relevant, but a little bit easier to watch, right? It's easier to digest. You can kind of feel the mood of everything that's going on there. Any other thoughts? Okay, I'll help out.
I noticed one. I noticed the shots all on the branding. So like the repeated shots over and over again on specific, either the product or the brand itself.
Yeah, absolutely. The focus in the product video was definitely the cord, right? Here's your frustrations in using it. Oh, and by the way, now I can actually share this with my friend over here, because my cord's long enough, right? All the focus on that as well. The other thing about these is they're short. They're short. They're all just about a minute long, right? All of them. And why that's important is because there's a lot of studies out there that show that people drop off after 30, 45 seconds or so. And if you do your video too long, then you're going to lose a lot of viewership. So it's really about capturing attention, getting in, making your case, and getting out. So they're all very concise. They're all very clear in their messaging. And I think that they're all like, here you go. Here's like the highlight, and you can learn more about them. And that's why they're really great examples, like in today's world and how consumers consume video, right? And actually the cool thing about that is that really just leads us into best practices as we start to look at best practices in videos. So let's talk about that. Here's some examples for you to show you that you might be living in the past in terms of video. You feel like one video is going to do it all for your business, right? And that's certainly not the case. Any business that's doing video should have multiple videos, to talk about what they do and how they're doing it and what they've been doing and so on, right? You want video to last for a long time. It just doesn't. It's not relevant. Like I said, my clip, my brand video, I certainly needs to be updated. I haven't updated the video clips in that in a while. You say you've wanted to produce a video for 10 years, your vision for the piece hasn't really changed. You haven't thought about how video can drive an organic search to your website. And that's something to think about, putting in the keywords and tags and SEO for your videos as you work on them. You still believe video is shot on tape. It's not. It's all digital, man. Digital is the way to go. When I started doing video, we were shooting high 8, right? Little cassettes about this big. We'd have to convert everything before we could actually share it, with people, which was really kind of fun. You didn't realize that more people watch video on their phones now than on their computer. That's crazy to think about. We're all walking around with these mini TVs in our pocket, and they have some wonderful capabilities. So a lot kind of builds off of what you can do in terms of video. So let's look at how to get a video right. First thing you say, or first thing I hear a lot is, I need a video. And I've heard this time and time and time again in 20 plus years of business comms. I need a video. Great. What do you want it to do? And notice it's not what do you want to say, it's what do you want the video to do. You should always start your video with a goal in mind. Are you trying to attract more leads or more customers? Are you trying to drive sales? Are you trying to create interest in a product? Are you trying to explain who you are? These are fantastic goals to have when you're generating a video, but all of those are different videos, right? There's a difference between, I'm going to talk to you about my iPhone versus I'm going to talk to you about who Tempo VideoWorks is. They're different, right? And really that's the fundamental start with creating a video for your business. What's your goal with it? next thing to think about is where are you posting, and where you post is just as important as creating your video. You know, each platform has its unique requirements. Each platform has a specific type of user or specific user that uses it. Facebook is different than TikTok, is different than Instagram, is different than you know, YouTube, and how they're consumed is different. How people watch them is different. Instagram is, you know, 1080 pixels wide. Actually, it's 1080 by 830 or something like that if you want like the full screen to go in there. Facebook is about the same way. YouTube is, you can totally shoot landscape 4K, and people can play it back on their TV if they really want to, right? There's no wrong answer to where you post, but knowing where to post or knowing where you're going to post really helps in terms of how you put it together and who you're doing the video for. Which kind of gets us into, you know, knowing your target audience, and really it's about understanding who you're targeting, and it's more than just the demographic makeup. It's about identifying, you know, what's going on in their mind's eye, the people that you're targeting with it. It's about what's going to motivate them to make a decision. You know, if I'm shooting a video for Eric, for instance, and I know that he's done quite a few, and you have a great way at doing this, by the way. You're going to show the kids that are in your fencing classes having a great time, right? Because you want the kids to get excited. That looks really fun. And at the same time, you know, the parents are going to watch it too. If the parents are going to pay for the kids, so the parents have to know, like, what are my kids going to get out of this? You know, and they want to know that. So knowing the difference between what you are trying to communicate can be really helpful in terms of whether your video is a success or not. My favorite. Yeah, listen, okay, you've talked to marketers before, the sales funnel, and it's kind of a catchphrase, but really it's good to understand at what point, you know, your customers are at as they're viewing video, right? There's three real main stages that a customer will go through is they're thinking about you as a client or a target for their business. One is the awareness stage, and obviously it's a great place to leverage video. People don't know anything about your product. They don't know anything about your company. They don't know anything about what you do. Giving that high-level overview of what it is that you do, like a brand video, is perfect for the awareness stage. This is what we're about, right? There's the consideration stage. They know about you, but they want to know what makes you different. Help me fill in the blanks about, you know, what's going on with what you do. And if you have a thoughtful strategy, the visitor is going to click on a lot of videos. So I want to see more about what they do. I want to learn more about their products. I want to learn more about their services, which is really kind of cool. And then finally, there's the decision phase, right? The decision stage. And you've made it to the point where they're ready to make a decision on something, and it comes really quickly, I think, a lot of times after that, after the awareness stage. What makes you different? How are you different? Why are you different? Why is your product different? Why are your services different? What sets you apart from, you know, what sets me apart from Logic Studios? What sets me apart from KMC? You know, we all do the same thing, but our approach is a little bit different. You know, and my approach may not work for you. You know, KMC's approach may work for you a little bit better. They may be able to do a little bit different or better in terms of, you know, what it is that they need to do for your business, or what it is that you're looking for. Quality content. And I know it's weird coming from a video production person. Content is way more important than the overall quality of your video. Way more. Absolutely way more. And that's not to say you shouldn't put a video out that you can't see or hear or understand, right? You don't want to put yourself in a bad light. And at the same time, if your message, if what you're trying to communicate isn't good, then you're kind of just wasting your time and your money and your resources on what it is. Content is king. Content is everything, you know. And also the other thing is, you don't want to overload your visitors with too much content, right? At the same time, when I mentioned earlier that a brand video is not a product video, is not a customer testimonial, you'll see it so often where somebody will try to put all of those things into one video, right? And suddenly the video is so long, there's so much content to digest, you kind of lose track of what it is the focus was for the video as you go along, right? And so that's something to keep in mind in terms of content. And last but not least, a call to action. What do you want your visitors to do when they're done, when they reach the end? Don't leave them hanging. What's your next step? Let us help you share your story. Download a piece of content, subscribe and like on YouTube, or contact us for more information with a phone number, an email address, a website, something. You want to drive your videos to that. You want to drive your viewers to that next step. For every piece of content you create, there should be something that will help your viewers get to another place in terms of with your company. Whew, that's a lot. I'm going to stop for just a second and see if there's any questions before we move on. And silence is kind of a two-way street, right? It's either I'm explaining it really good or nobody wants to ask a question. Either is okay, but this is where I would actually, if I had a very large group, I'd put a plant in the audience that would kick out a question to me. So any questions? No questions, we'll go ahead and move on.
I wanted to ask something real quick. The videos that we do, mostly for our events, we post them Facebook, sometimes Instagram. Is that a platform we could do for like LinkedIn? Do you have any thoughts on, I know Google's good, but do you think
you can
that's a good platform?
So LinkedIn has become really a content platform in the last little while, right? They've gone away from, here's my business profile and let's just talk business. They've really tried to become a content platform. So if you go out to LinkedIn now, it's a lot different than it was, say, 5 or 6, 7, 8 years ago. They're trying to become like the Facebook of business. I don't know that they'll really get there, but posting video to Facebook is a great idea, especially to LinkedIn, sorry, is a great idea, especially if you're sharing with businesses what it is, what you do, because I think that a lot of corporate professionals, business professionals are on LinkedIn and they'll use it a lot for their content. So if that's your target audience, then LinkedIn is an absolutely great place to share it as well. And you can share the same content. I mean, when I am getting in the habit more now of I'm going to post to Instagram, right, what I'm doing, and that's going to post to Facebook automatically. And then I'll take that same video and I'll drop it over into LinkedIn as well. It's a separate post, but you can absolutely do the same and do the cross posting. And any posting, any place you put something is going to help drive folks back, back to you. So that's a long answer question.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, we've heard. Any other questions? And if not, I'll just move on. Sweet. Okay. Okay, so what you're probably here for a lot is hardware, software. What do you need to do video? And you really need only one thing. From a minimalist perspective, you need a camera. That's it. That's all you need, right? And that camera can be that, right? Mobile phone cameras have gotten so good in the last 3 or 4 years. They're fabulous. I mean, this is an iPhone 7, I think. No, it's an iPhone 8. And it's, what is that, 4 years old now? 5 years old, whatever. It shoots 4K video. Am I going to post in 4K? Probably not. But because it converts and stuff like that. But this is all you need. You want to put a business video together. A lot of folks just use this when they do their Instagram, when they do TikTok. TikTok is shot like this. Hey, I'm doing a TikTok video, right? This is all you need. Somebody talking in your video, you really need a microphone. That's the one drawback of using this as your camera, is that the sound on this, anytime you get more than a couple feet away, sound quality really drops off. You start to sound hollow. You start to sound like, oh my gosh, I can't hear anything that's going on. If I took my microphone off of me and held it away from me, you'd hear the difference. You sound like you're in a room. You get a little bit of echo. You get bad quality. It's just how it works, right? Are microphones expensive? No. Here is a Sarmonic lav. It's a lapel lav, right? So it can connect right to your shirt, whatever. This cost me $30 on Amazon. It has a 12-foot leader cord, so I could actually put it on my camera and stand at a comfortable different distance and talk. Microphones will help your spoken audio quality, absolutely. And these are inexpensive, and if you're doing video, you should have one, right? Lights, do you really need one? No, not necessarily. I mean, right now I'm using some lighting because it's easier for me than having a super bright glare come in from my window, which is right over there for me, right? And the lighting helps really enhance versus being something that's an absolute imperative, right? Generally shoot in a well-lit space. Shoot with a window in front of you and not behind you. If you think about when you're in a Zoom meeting, like Eric has his window shades closed right now, you can see that, because if he opened that, the sun would be bright, it would be really backlit, his video quality wouldn't be very good, right? But he's got the light in front of him, it shows up really well, So thinking about those things, do you really need lighting? Not necessarily, because these compensate very well, for lighting. Do you want to use this? No, you don't want to use this. Yeah, look at that VHS. This is a old school VHS camcorder. I keep these around just for novelty, right? These are kind of fun to have. Do you need this, which is my B cam? No, you really don't need something that crazy. If you're going to get into a camera, there's a lot of great point and click cameras that are available for relatively inexpensive. A lot of people have these GoPros. These are great for shooting video. The only drawback with a GoPro is one, you kind of have to buy a handle for it, because this is very awkward, right? Like this. But they don't really do sound well, right? This is really meant to be an action camera. But the quality out of these, from a video perspective, it's fabulous, right? So you don't really need a lot in terms of starting to do video for what you can do from a hardware perspective. Most of us already have the camera in our pocket, right? And that's great to start with. So hardware-wise, easy. Software, well, I'll stop. Any questions on hardware? Maybe I'll do that. I'll throw that one in. Any questions on hardware, what you need or could use or use for video? No, cool. Let's just go on. Let's talk software. And I did not do the builds right on this. Oh, great. Well, do you absolutely need editing software? The answer is no. I mean, you can do videos in one take, right? Does it help to make a better video? Yeah, it can, because you can do a lot more in terms of when you're doing the editing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the best of the best. I had a slide build, and my slide build isn't working correctly at the moment. My personal favorite, and what I use in studio here, and we're going to see that a little bit later, is Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is software by Adobe. It is part of their Creative Suite. The reason I like it, it's because it interacts very well with all of their applications, from their photo editing to their vector graphics builds to, um, uh, After Effects for animation, and all of that. So all of that comes in one package. It is pricey. It's the business use on that one is somewhere around $60-ish a month, right? It's a pretty significant investment in terms of what you're going to spend on it. I think they have packages with just Premiere Pro that are less expensive, but for my use, it really gives me the best bang for the buck in terms of everything that I need to do: photo editing, illustration, animation, and video editing, right? It's a super powerful tool. Another one on the higher end to think about is a software called Davinci Resolve, and that's put together by the Blackmagic Corporation. I like Davinci Resolve from a video editing perspective because it manages color very well. You're probably not going to get into a lot of like colorization and color correction and stuff like that if you're doing DIY video. But the cool thing about Davinci Resolve is they actually have a free version available. So if you've never heard of it before, Davinci, just like Da Vinci, the artist, right? Resolve. They're on version 17 or something like that. It is a very powerful editing tool. It's one of, pros are going to use one of three software packages. They're either using Premiere Pro, they're using Resolve, or they're using Final Cut Pro. And you're seeing a lot less Final Cut Pro, but still very viable software from an Apple perspective. What are you using, Eric? Just out of curiosity.
I use Power Director I think I got them years ago. I had like Power Director 16, and now they've got Power Director 365, which has got monthly updates with new, title stuff and whatever. So a lot of it is stuff that I can use, but it's very affordable and it's pretty simple. I'm not doing this professionally. I'm doing it more as a hobby, and so it fits my budget. And as I tell everybody, I'm not all that technically capable, so it is simple enough that I can handle it.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's no wrong answer. It works for what you need. It's easy to learn. It's inexpensive. It's a great tool.
And when I first got started, if you look at some of the very early chamber chats, I filmed that all on an iPad. I had a little lavalier mic, and then I edited it on iMovie, kind of thing. So it didn't take. Obviously you can see a big difference between what I had done a few years ago using that and what Cameron's doing now, filming it, having two cameras and a better sound system and proper editing at the end. But for something simple where you're just going to be promoting a product or doing a customer testimonial, any of those things are simple and easy to use.
Absolutely. And iMovie is actually one that I was going to mention too. If you have an Apple product, Apple iPhone or an iPad, a Mac, if you're using a Mac at work, iMovie comes included in iOS and the Mac operating system. It's free and it works really, really well for what it does. Does it offer all the features that Premiere Pro and Davinci Resolve and all those Final Cut Pro X? No. Does it give you some really solid video editing capabilities? It absolutely does, and it's a great piece of software. There's another one out there that's really built for social media, and it's for mobile devices. It's called Adobe Premiere Rush. And that one helps and can post directly to social media feeds and has a pretty easy learning curve as well, which is really kind of cool. It's one to think about. It's not a free application. It is a paid application, but again, it's one of those that you can take and you can edit your video on your mobile device, and then it'll actually push up to most popular social media feeds right from the app, which is really kind of nice. So that's another one that you might consider as well. So a lot of great software tools out there. Oh yeah, sorry. One that I forgot on the Adobe side is Audition, which I do all of my sound editing. And if you think about being able to do post-production sound editing, that's why the Adobe package is such a great tool for me. So that's quite a bit on the software end. And I'm going to show you one more piece of software that I like to use a lot. And this is really used in the creation phase of when I'm doing video work. And I'm going to switch over and actually show you my iPad screen here. And I think that's on 4. That's not it. It's on 3. There it is. So this piece of software is called, let me back out of this. It's actually called Previs Pro. And what Previs Pro does is it does storyboarding. And as I share this with you and we look at it, and it's not updating in my software update. There you go. Previs Pro does storyboarding. And when you think about when you're putting together a video, I like to kind of design and build my shots and what they look like ahead of time. This software does just that, which is really kind of nice. It's built for an iPad, and the Pro version actually lets me take my iPad. I could go out to a client site and shoot. I could shoot video or shoot still images of where we want to do the shots, and then place objects in those shots. Like you're going to stand here in this part of your room and be here in that part and stuff like that. So it's really kind of cool in terms of how you set up shots on it. And it's not, why is it not updating? It's really giving me a bad time. Anyway, so that's called Previs Pro. It's kind of a neat, it's a really neat tool that I have in my arsenal as I go to do stuff. All right, any questions on software before we move on? No, cool. Well, let's do it. Let's do what you're here for. Let's show a video breakdown and how I go about looking at my shots and everything else. So we're going to be doing this demo with Premiere Pro. And so I'm going to break out of turn my key off. I'm going to flip over and go to that is the screen that you want to look at. I'm actually going to get my big mouse out. I'm going to flip over and go right to Premiere Pro. Boom, here it is. So this is a couple weeks ago we shot we did a video at the ribbon cutting for Duke's Cafe, and we got a lot of short clips from this, and really, in our approach for it, we wanted to capture and make sure we captured the event, the ribbon cutting, and thinking in terms of how we put together a ribbon cutting or tell the story really of this ribbon cutting. Let's think about that. I want to talk through that just a little bit. So I'm going to bounce back over to here. Ribbon cutting. And my approach was pretty simple. I think Michelle called me at what was it, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think, the day of, right? Before we did the actual shoot. And I had to think really quickly about the things that I wanted to capture, right? And in terms of event coverage, there's certain things you want to make sure you grab, right? We need to know who, what, when, where, why, right? That's really the basics of story. You guys remember that from elementary school when you were in English class and writing stories, right? And so we wanted to look for things as we went through the day. What's going on, right? Obviously, the ribbon cutting. We need to establish where we're at. We were at Duke's Cafe. what was going on there. You have speakers, you have a reception, you have people talking and getting together, and ribbons are being cut, and people are mingling, and you want to show the food and what the place is about. So there's all those things that are going on, and we want to make sure to capture all of that. So as we look through the clips, I'm going to look through the clips really quick with you and talk through the clips that are here, and then I'll show you how we put everything else together. So we'll go back. There's the zoom so you guys can see yourselves, and now we'll go to the videos. So these are the clips, right? And I don't know how many are there. Gosh, you can see them here on the left. These are all the clips that we shot. There's a whole bunch of them. That's probably about 40 different video clips, you know, that we put into this. They all are a little bit different. I took the audio out because we didn't need that. And one of the first things that I do is, you know, I'm always going to shoot a lot more than I actually need, right? Because you never know, right? There could be something that you didn't realize you caught, and that happens on occasion. There could be something that you didn't mean to catch. Maybe a shot didn't quite work. Like there's a few shots in here that didn't quite work well in the finished product. Like for some reason, like the wine that's here, I should have taken the wine and put it on a different table. They actually have their own wine label that they sell in-house when they're there. And I got some shots of the wine, but the shots of the wine just didn't, for whatever reason, you know, they were a little too cluttered, right? We've got food here in front, we've got the wine bottles in the back and stuff like that. It just wasn't really, there wasn't really one point of focus in it. So that's not a clip that I used. So as I scrub through this, there are certain clips that are great. There are certain clips that are not so great. I really like this opening clip in terms of we're on the grill, right? So I would actually save that one. Second clip of the grill, the grill is kind of barren. I'm just going to kill that. I'm not going to worry about that one. And so on. You just kind of go through with the beers they have on tap. I thought that was a pretty good shot, so I kept that. This shot, as I was moving, I didn't get it quite down to where my focus wanted to be, and him creating the sandwich, so I would get rid of that. So you can kind of see as I go through and I separate these pieces, what works and what doesn't. This I thought was a much better shot as we go in, because the focus drives into him finishing that sandwich off. So I'm going to keep that shot. Cookies, get pictures of the cookies. And I couldn't get an angle as I was looking at the full cookie counter. The cookies look delicious, but there's all this reflection and stuff on the left-hand side. And I just couldn't make that. I couldn't make it work at any angle that really showed the cookies well. It didn't have like people walking in the background and stuff like that. So that shot went away. The restaurant, showing the restaurant, that one is probably a keeper. A great reveal shot in here as we go through and looking at it. That's pretty nice as well. We'll think about that one. And the shot, same. So I've got 3 shots that are really similar. I really don't need all 3 of them. I would go back and, well, which one's really the best? You know, and I would pick between the 3 of those to see which one I like the best, because I don't want to overuse or have too many of the same, right? In the same shot. Same thing on this reveal. We showed the restaurant. I tried to do a little reveal behind this. I'm not big on either of those because as I'm looking, there was a little bit of off focus as that one moved in and I didn't get it centered really well. And as I look at this, the focus didn't catch the napkin and didn't adjust itself really well as it moved from one to the other. And that's my error, but I'm not going to use that shot because it just doesn't reflect them well. They have a lot of like little kitschy things up there, and I thought those would be kind of cool. That shot was okay. I ended up not using it. That, I think, is my favorite shot of the bunch as I looked at all of these, because it really shows the restaurant, how spacious it is, how open it is, and how just warm and friendly it is, right? I really like this one a lot. And I'll explain what I did with that shot shortly. Establishing shot, we need that. I thought this was okay, but the only thing I see in it is I see my reflection in the window, right? So didn't really use that. This one I liked a lot better. Why? Just because the open sign is kind of the focus that's there, and it really kind of centered out well with the Duke's Cafe sign. So we're going to keep that one. We went through a series of all the speeches, and if you think about the ribbon cutting itself, you have local, county, state, even our national representatives are represented at the ribbon cutting. So it's important to share those dignitaries, right? So obviously that's a keeper, and posing with his certificate. And the other representatives, she's from Young Kim's office, I think, right? And posing. And then our local representatives coming, and then other national representatives coming. No, she's from Young Kim's office. Anyway. And then, so all of these are in some function, because I think it's important to share that as part of the message. And then Matt from the Placentia Chamber. Of course, we want to make sure that we captured, it's a Chamber of Commerce event. We've got Chamber of Commerce represented in the final video as well. The owner gave a little speech and talked. He thanked his family. He thanked, his staff. As we were talking, I thought that was really cool. So those are all keepers, and we wanted to make sure to include those. And then as we thought about also establishing shot, he's got this great signage in the front. So that's something I wanted to capture as part of the video. I've got a few examples of this. I didn't really care for that angle. I've got a couple more that are coming later. And then this shot, I think, is one that I actually used in that, because I thought it was really cool to come in to see the reception and members of the chamber having that reception or meeting and networking as part of the event as well. So that one was a keeper. I liked this shot as well, because it focuses on, here's your customer service happening. And one thing I do want to point out in all of these is that if you look at them, video is motion, right? So one of the things that you're going to notice in all of these, there's always some motion going on. I try to have that as part of what it is that we're doing when I'm shooting, and have that motion because it just lends that that energy. I think if you think about the energy that a video can create, it helps with the energy of that video as you have motion moving around, especially when you don't have a focus like a single speaker and you're not capturing audio from a speech or something like that. It helps make it not static. I mean, if we were going to just do static, we could bring a still camera in and shoot that and then put those all together at the end. Make sense? So that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of motion in our videos as we're shooting them. Switching back over. There's those wine bottles again, and just for whatever reason, they just didn't make the cut. I like a couple of the Duke's interior. I tried a couple different shots with that and playing with it. And I'm not really sure which one made the cut, but I also like this, thinking about what they do. We showed the food in the back. We showed the beer. Let's talk about their hand scooped shakes, which I thought was really this is kind of a nice signage to introduce in terms of the establishment. A lot of footage, a lot of shots that are going on there. I am going to share with you now. The next step in creating that was really about, you narrowed down the shots, and then we need some music to put behind it. And I use a stock or royalty-free music site called Storyblocks. and audio blocks. They have a lot of great music available. I really like them just because of all of the music that they have. Let me turn, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this or not because I didn't really set this up for sound, but here's the music. Eric's grooving, so we know he can. So that's the music that I selected for it, and I really like that piece. It's called Kick Turn, which is really kind of interesting. It's also very short. It's only about 30 seconds or so long, which is really kind of about perfect for what it is, that we're trying to show here. And then we take all of those clips, all these clips, you think about the ones that we like, as I sort them out, we're going to place them in a timeline and put them all together with the music. And where's my final clip? Here it is. So when we put everything together, we put it with the music, and I wanted to show not necessarily the shot, but really show my audio track here. Let me expand this up a little bit. And Lanisha, you mentioned the audio and the audio kicking it forward and keeping it forward. If you guys have ever seen a waveform in video, all of these peaks are really like they're beats in the music. So as we think about this as it's moving forward, all of these are great points to have a change or a transition or a switch in the video, and syncing video with music like this really helps the transition, really helps move it forward, really helps kind of make it cohesive and make it one great final piece. And when we started, we of course start with an establishing shot. That establishing shot, we are at Duke's Cafe. That's the where. We are at Duke's Cafe, more establishing. And then we're going to see the restaurant. This is the interior of the restaurant. Now, if you remember that one clip that I said I really like the interior of it, let's go back to that in the timeline. I think that one's it. As we look at this in the timeline, here's the original clip. And I just like the pan that goes around here. But as I was moving around in this, I realized that I was moving sort of the same direction, and I wanted to change direction, so keep the flow of that directionally as it was going on. So I actually went and flipped it and ran it in reverse. So you really can't tell, but this is playing in reverse, which is really kind of just an interesting tidbit to point out. But that's the establishing. And this music comes to a peak right away. There's a big punch that really kind of starts the bulk of the music. And so I wanted to time that with the event that we're here for. This is the ribbon cutting. And so the opening part of this sequence finishes with that, or punches right on the cut of the ribbon. And you can hear it in the music as you play that back. Then it's just about what's going on. Let's share a little bit of Duke's Cafe and what they're about. And in this music, there's some punchiness at the end. Dump, 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 dump. And I really kind of like that for showing and sharing the speakers. So all of it's cut out, punched up to the music, and it comes across and edits, and put it all together. So let's play it, and we can share, and you can watch it here, playback live right in Premiere Pro. that's kind of fun, right?
I just want to say that you put a lot of thought into that, especially that last part where it went boom, 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 and you had person, person, person. I mean, that's awesome. I'm so impressed.
Thank you. Yeah. So when we approach it and we look at it and we think about like how we're shooting, I love matching the music to the video, to the piece that's going on there, and it really helps, really helps the energy of it, and it's short, concise, to the point. We got in, we got it out, and really showed everything. We showed the food, we showed them making the food, we showed them taking an order, we showed the restaurant, we showed the speakers that were there. Everything was there in this little 40-second clip about what it was all about. And it was just a fun piece to put together. So I'm just gonna open it up. You guys, let's talk about that and what you feel about that, questions you have on how we go shooting and where we're shooting and what we're using and stuff like that. So let's talk about it. Share with me your thoughts, share with me your questions, and you can unmute and let's chat about it.
Do you have an idea of the music you're going to be using before you take your shots, or that just comes after you take your shots?
In this case, no. I picked the music afterwards, right? I did go through, actually, from a sequencing perspective, I chose the music, right? And then I went through the shots, right? So it wasn't necessarily, I have all these clips that I want to use, and here's my music. It's like, here's my music that I have, and I like that piece a lot because it's just so cool, so catchy, and just, I don't know, it was nice. But then as I'm looking at the shots a little bit, then I think about like, how am I going to put these clips together? What clip would be good for this part of the music? What clip would be good for that part of the music? So from a sequencing perspective, I always try to pick my music first before I select the shots that I have. In some cases, I actually pick the music before I go and take the shots, and then you can figure out like where, in what part of the shot I'm going to actually, like I'm shooting for this portion of the music, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can go either way, but the music is usually in place before we start really finalizing the clips that are there and available for us.
Great, thank you.
It's a great question. No worries.
I mean, that being said, Andy, I'm disappointed that you didn't have this entire presentation timed with the music. I mean,
right?
Come on, you're slacking here today.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's terrible. I don't have any music in my PowerPoint or anything else.
I tell you, what can you do?
Just one of those things, right?
Hey, so you mentioned with those Storyblock and Audioblock, do you subscribe to those? There's like a monthly fee or something like that?
I do, yeah. And it's, gosh, I don't remember the cost of it, but it's nominal because it's unlimited in how many I can use. You can go, there's a bunch of ways, and it's a subscription. It was a yearly subscription. I think it was like $400 for the subscription. But there's a lot of royalty-free places that are out there that you're going to spend, $100 a piece of music, right?
Yeah.
And you do have to be a little careful on Storyblocks because certain pieces have different licensing attached to them. Like there's some that, you can use this as part of Storyblocks, but you have to credit the music, the person that wrote it, right? One thing you absolutely don't want to do is use any commercial music in your videos because then, the record labels like to come after people for doing that. Facebook will block it, and there's just a whole bunch of legal reasons why you don't want to do that. That's why the royalty-free stuff is so important to use. But they're great. They have everything from you know, that, right? The music, they have actually After Effects templates that I like to use. In fact, I did one, let me share, see if I have this, if I can open it up. Oh, here it is. Oh, I don't have the right drive plugged in. Sorry, I work off of small SATA drives, right? Because video is huge, and then when I'm done with something, it all gets backed up to a giant, like I have like a 14 terabyte hard drive that I back everything up to when everything's done. But I don't have the right SATA plugged in right now, and I don't want to plug it in. But I used it over the weekend for the one that I shot for grand opening for a burger restaurant in Corona. I got an After Effects template that made my editing of their video really quick. So I'll have that one will debut in the next couple of days. So they do a lot of that. So.
Andy, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, were you finished? Or going to go to something else?
No, go ahead.
I don't know what you mean by matching the music with the video. Do you mean like with the peaks and the valleys? Like, is that what you mean?
Yeah. So if you think about, let me cut back here really quick. If you think about this music as you look at it, let me make this really, really big. So in the waveform, you can see actually where the peaks and the beats and stuff are in the music. You know, as you play this through, if you listen to it, you can hear, you can hear definite beats in the music, right? It's there, and if you cut on those beats or on those phrases, sorry, my major in college was music education, so it's really easy for me to talk music, right? If you hear the music and the phrases of the music, right, and this one especially as it goes, there's definite breakpoints in there, right? Count the beat, dot, 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 boom, and there's a transition. So if I think about the waveform, as we look at the waveform and do the waveform, or follow it, I should say, all these little peaks are places where, a beat happens. And it's really kind of hard to see here. Let me actually bring this.
Oh, okay. And that's where it goes, when it goes to the lowest point is where you change the scene.
Right. So
okay.
If I make this waveform just a little bit easier to follow along too. So all of these peaks, are they're downbeats, they're beats within the measure of music that's happening at this particular time, right? Just a spot where you can match a transition in the video, and those straight cuts that we use. Like I don't put any kind of transitions in it. It would be easy enough to put a transition, in here. We could take and do like a dissolve, right? When you see a dissolve in video, you guys know what a dissolve is. Let me get my video back. Where'd it go? You could do a cross dissolve or something, for the video. There it is. And I'll drop one of those in now. I mean, this is a pretty standard transition that you're going to see, where the video actually fades in or out, right? I don't generally use those a lot because it's a lot easier to match, that transition to the launch point in the music. And really that's kind of what that's about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, now I get it. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also where you're matching the music to what the subject is for the video, or what the purpose of the video is. So
Absolutely.
If we're doing something that's talking about Lanisha's hypnotherapy, we wouldn't want to use something that's quite that upbeat. Maybe we'd maybe use something that fits with whatever the dialogue or fits with that whatever the message is. So there's a number of different things there with the video where the adding the music, enhances it in some way, but also fits with whatever your theme is or your concept. So
yeah, stylistically, yeah. If we were doing a video for you, it would be something calming and soothing, right? Because that you're about you want to capture that sort of inner peace and be peaceful. You don't want behind that, right? It's just wouldn't match.
We save the upbeat stuff for Michelle. That's
Yes.
definitely her style coming right through.
Yeah. So there's one other thing that if you're doing DIY video that I think can help enhance and as you're building a video, one is of course at the end having a graphic. That's what we're about. We're having a graphic there. The other thing that you can do that can help is titling. And now titling in an editing program is a lot easier than doing it. And this is where an editing program can really come in handy, right? I can take in Premiere and type in a title, and you can make that title, whatever you want. But now this is something that's out here and it's available for me to use and play with. I can move it around on the timeline. I can switch where it's at. But sometimes a word or a phrase in there as you're speaking or to a voiceover can also help enhance. I'm sorry, I didn't switch over. Putting in a word or a phrase can help enhance if you're speaking, right? In terms of emphasis on a word that you're talking about. Like if I'm talking video, I'm gonna punch it up and talk video. If we're back in my presentation and I'm talking about my software, then I'm talking about my software. Right? We're talking software. Something like that's on that side. It's hard to do that. It's in a mirror. If I'm talking about my software, having titling can really help phrase or give context to what it is you're speaking about. If you've got somebody that's speaking in a video, for instance, and editing software will allow you to do that. Imovie does it, Premiere does it. All of those video tools will do that for you. One other thing to think about is in terms of folks consuming video on their phones is that a lot of people will view it muted, right? I've done it. Like people are watching video and their video's muted. That's why I do music in a lot of the stuff that I do. When something's spoken, you need to think about captioning. Facebook is doing auto captions now, which is really cool, and it's nice that they bring that to the table. But a lot of other times, a lot of other platforms don't necessarily do captioning. So if somebody is speaking to a video, having those titles, and this shouldn't be in best practices, right? Having those titling in can help give context to the spoken word that's being said within the video itself. Make sense? It's 12:49, and I think that's pretty good timing on everything. Any other questions, thoughts, feelings? Like, what's going on? You guys are all ready to go out and do some video for your stuff?
Yeah. I was just going to say, a great presentation, Andy, and I know that, depending on what you're doing the video for, it's going to have more or less length. So if you're doing something that's, short promotional stuff, but if we're doing something that's more educational, might take a little longer to do to kind of cover content or whatnot. So You know, I think your comment on what is the goal of the video is like the first thing people have got to sort out. And then knowing what the goal is, oftentimes when you're thinking about the audience or where you're going to post it, that's going to indicate what kind of video you need to post. You know, some of the different formats are intentionally short, so you're not going to have a long dissertation on something posted on TikTok or whatnot, or YouTube Shorts when you've only got a minute or so to get it across. So all of those things kind of go into it, but definitely knowing your goal. So that's great advice.
Yeah, thanks. Let me turn my key off so I'm actually back. But yeah, start with the goal. Start with the goal, make a plan. You know, the first thing you don't want to do is pick up your phone and start shooting, right? That's never going to get you the quality that you want. It's really about planning, thinking ahead, capturing what it is that you want to capture, and that all starts with paper a lot of times, or a Word document or something like that, and not a camera. And that's true in what I do. It's true in Hollywood. They never start with a camera. They always start with a script, right?
Now, just with your process, if someone were to contact you and say, I've got a business and I want to do a branding video, what do you normally do? You have like a consultation with them, and then kind of how do you do that? I'm trying to send you some business, Andy. Trying to get people excited about coming and doing filming with you.
So really the first thing is, if they want to do a branding video, I want to find out about what they're about. You know, what are you about? What do you do? You know, what is it that you're trying to share? What are you trying to accomplish? And it's sometimes it's easy, you know. We have a grand opening. We want to see the excitement of our grand opening. Sure, we're there. You know, let's talk about what's going on. Are there any events that we need to cover? Sometimes it's a little bit more in depth. You know, I want to shoot a product video for this finishing machine that does die cutting. Okay, that's pretty deep. What are some of the features that you want to cover? How or what does the machine do? You know, so you want to be sure that you've got a plan in terms of how am I going to shoot this? What angle am I going to shoot it at? What kind of products do you want to put in there? How do you want to show it in action? There's always a lot of planning that's going to take place between that first initial ask and then until we get out to shoot. Yeah, it's a multi-step process. It isn't, hey, come out and shoot for me. What are the features you want to cover on that copier? What can it do? What's it capable of? Let's, you know, show me something, the most complex thing it does. Show me the least complex thing it does. If I'm a customer, why would I want this piece of equipment? What does it do for me? Is it going to save me money? Is it going to let me expand my capabilities? Is it going to let me do more that I'm doing? You know, there's a lot of questions that you're going to ask in that. So, and it's all video dependent. It's all video dependent. So, any other questions?
No? Not this time. Oh wait, actually I do. I have another question.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
No.
How do you get your ideas for content? That's like my main thing that I have a hard time with, is creating the content and the purpose of the videos.
Content is tricky. I don't necessarily come out with the ideas for the content per se. If I'm working with a client, it's usually a discussion on what's your goal? What do you want to share? What message do you want to send, right? What do you want to accomplish by doing this video? And a lot of times the content will come out of that, right? For you, it might be, what's my goal? I want more people to come out to my ceremony, my cacao ceremony in the park, right? And from then it would be, well, how do we want to accomplish that? And really that's about, I would almost think there's a few ways you can do that, right? Because you want your prospective folks coming to those to know what they're going to get out of it, right? And then how do we show that? Well, we might show little bits of the ceremony, right? We might show a little bit about how you make the drink, the whisk, dropping the chocolate in. You described that to me the other day at lunch, right? You're gonna stir the cacao with a whisk, and you're gonna share that, with somebody. I'm gonna give you this drink now, and we're gonna drink it together. So we might show all of that in terms of shots. I would show you dropping the chocolate disc in the cup, adding the water. I would show you whisking the drink. I would show you sharing it with somebody. I would show somebody enjoying, that drink, and work hard to set the mood of how they feel after they partake in that ceremony, right? So then that's your content, right? What's part of that? How it would come all together. Does that kind of make sense? What you want to accomplish really helps to drive what content it is that you want to have.
Thank you.
Eric.
I can also make suggestions. So Lanisha or anybody else, if you're going to be doing some simple videos yourself, a lot of easy ones you can do are what are frequently asked questions that you get from people. So I always hear people saying, what should my child wear to fencing? All right. I did a video on that. What is fencing about? What's the difference between this and that? And what, so any sort of questions that you get on a regular basis from people, what's the difference between this type of hypnotherapy and that type of, hypnosis, or what are these? I don't know enough about what you do to know, but those are little simple things that you can do. And then you can just post those. You can film that, post it to Facebook, wherever you want to do it, and you can start to then put together stuff, and then you can then have it on your website. So then when people go to, what is this? It takes them to a quick little video that it describes it. And that's something that's simple that you could do yourself. So anything like that is good. And then the other thing is that if you do anything that's seasonal, so if you've got some sort of seasonal activities that you do, or seasonal ceremonies or whatnot, then you would then want to do something that's promoting, hey, it's the fall equinox is coming, or the winter solstice is coming, and we have a XYZ kind of a thing. So anything like that, make for a good, simple, do-it-yourself kind of a video. So there's all kinds of things out there. I'd be happy to brainstorm with you, but if you just kind of think about things that people are usually asking you, that's a great way to get started.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think for you too, that the testimonial would be a good fit as well, right? I loved doing this because, I felt this way after, it helped me realize this about myself. I found out, this, whatever people are trying to find. I gained more confidence. I found calming clarity in having that session with you, something like that. If you have, that could help. I think that could help you tremendously as well, right?
Yeah, I think testimonials are great, particularly for what you're doing, since it's a service and it's a kind of it's something that's going on internally with people. So them explaining how they felt about it or how it's changed them or how it's helped them is good. And then if you want to try to get testimonials from people that are part of your maybe your target audience. So if you're doing weight loss, hypnotherapy, and you're working with women between this age and this age, you'd want to try to get some testimonials from people that are in that demographic, because then that's going to be the people that you're marketing. They're going to see people just like them who are getting the results they want, and so that's another way that you want to try to fit those videos in with what your overall marketing scheme is too.
Denise, I was going to say, one of our members, I just sent you the information, owns Care Patrol, and he's been doing like a weekly FAQ just to kind of get people to understand his services and stuff. That might be something that you'd like to do, just every week have a something about your services, and then make sure you put it on your chamber page too.
Okay, where did you send it? In a text?
I just texted it to you. Yeah, Reza from Care Patrol is the one that's been doing it. So I just sent you his information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, those testimonials are really powerful. And Amy, I think that would work for you as well, because, businesses are going to ask before they go to somebody that's going to consult with them on their business, what's my ROI, man? What am I looking to get out of this, right? That's huge, right? And if you can demonstrate that, I think that's something that could help. Oh, well, it worked for them. They're going to do the same thing for me, right? That's really kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else I can share right now. I mean, I probably could, but because I can talk about video for hours, and I'll just drown you guys and leave you behind. So it's 1:02. So I don't want to keep you. I really appreciate you guys coming out and.
It's a great presentation.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much
feel
for
free,
your
Yeah, and if you guys ever have any questions on video, just give me a call. I'm happy to talk video and video strategy with anybody, and I'll it's all good.
Thank you very much for your time and your expertise. We're going to be posting this on YouTube, and also it'll be on our weekly constant contact for the next few weeks. Because I got some texts from people who said they weren't able to come on for one reason or another. So we'll definitely continue to spread the good word, because it's a lot of good information.